right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on my second podcast. If you were on the first one watching, you heard that it was the first one I was ever stuck doing, but this is my second one, and I chose to do this. I chose to come on today to talk with our guest, Ian Lieberman, about Love for Lawrence Foundation, an organization that's new and very close to both of our hearts as we lost our friend Lawrence Dimmitt IV 2 years ago. And we are working together. Well, Ian and a big group are working together to change the conversation around suicide and to talk about better ways to communicate and open up those conversations. So, Ian, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with Love for Lawrence, and then we'll get into your event.
Yeah, absolutely. So Love for Lawrence was started by a group of Lawrence's immediate family and some of his closest friends, as well as a group of some very generous advisors that were either connected to Lawrence's family in one way, shape, or form, or through the friend group. We came together really as a group primarily to shed some tears, tell Lawrence stories, and really talk about the epidemic that is just taking our country really quietly, has been taking our country for a number of years in terms of mental health and mental health issues. Thank you. So that initial conversation that started at the Armature Works in their new co-working space in July of last year has really evolved to a structured board that has a framework for action, has done significant research in national and local best practices, and really has, we've developed a fully baked grant application, and through the generosity of an initial gift to the foundation, has been structured as both a donor-advised fund as well as an endowment to ensure that we'll be doing great work in this community and changing conversations and saving lives in the community for a number of years to come. Our endowment is a 40-year endowment, which means that those that are on the board and affiliated with the board now have committed that essentially for the rest of our lives we will be a part of Love for Lawrence in some capacity, and the funds raised by Love for Lawrence will go directly into the community for at least the next 40 years.
When I was thinking this morning a little bit about us talking today, I was like, well, it'll be super hard for us not to cry. We only know each other. Basically, I know Ian as one of little Lawrence's friends, and also from the memorial service and the time that we all spent together after our whole community was so shocked by Lawrence's death. And I think it was that day, it was when his sister Mallory said, we will honor his choice. And so for those of you that are listening that talk about suicide or need to talk about suicide or know someone who didn't talk about suicide, and you feel like you want to know more and do more, this is the thing to listen to. But I think, yes, we've honored his choice, but at the same time, we've made our choice. That is, we will educate and talk to people about suicide and about warning signs, because I think it's very safe to say for two people who knew Lawrence well, there weren't warning signs that we were aware of enough to talk. And now I talk to people all the time and say, you seem different. You seem like something's up. I noticed that you didn't follow up on that. Were you making an excuse to not go? Is there something else bothering you? And I don't know if those are the right things to say, but I know that it feels better than not saying anything.
You know, it's interesting you say that, Molly, because I had a brother who struggled with depression, or I have a brother who struggled with depression and continues to struggle with anxiety. And at the time, I didn't understand his struggle. And after Lawrence's death, one of the first calls I made was to my brother, Michael, and I said, I'm sorry, I was a bad brother. I didn't get it, but now I do. And I almost compare it, and I've talked to folks in the mental health professions about this. It's almost like your eyes are open to this world that you never knew existed. If you don't struggle yourself, or if you just happen to know people that struggle, there's no way you can fully comprehend. But when something like Lawrence's death introduces the finality to your world, your eyes become open to this monster issue. And if you allow yourself to wrap your mind around it, it truly becomes, the problem just grows and grows. And it's just interesting because it's not something that I really talked about prior to Lawrence's death much, but as we approach for the foundation, corporate partners, nonprofit and community partners, and various individuals that we have these conversations with, particularly as we talk to our corporate partners, I realize that not everybody talks about mental health issues and suicide and depression comfortably. Most people don't. And even those, like, for example, we met with a major law firm here in town with a couple of their partners, and these guys who are paid to talk for a living, it was amazing how quiet they were and how much they didn't know what to say. Some guys that are paid to know what to say. So it's like Molly, you've said a couple times, I mean, it's a matter of starting the conversation first, and ultimately when you start the conversation, then you can change the conversation, and that's ultimately what we aim to do with the foundation.
I feel like our community has, people have definitely changed their approach to me. Like, hey, do you want to talk about this? Do you know what's going on? And also just the instant that I hear that someone's died by suicide. And that's something, an ironic shout out to Bill Lutz at Grace Point Foundation. He's come to share and talk with our company about mental health, and we also were able to connect him with the Dimmitt family. But he has like a 1, 2, 3 list of things that need to be done when someone dies by suicide, and things you never wanted to know what to do or what to say. He learned them after losing his own son. But one of the things that I work hard on is teaching people to say died by suicide. That is how you're supposed to say it if you have to say it. That's how it works now. It's not something that a person knowingly commits. And Bill's really led a lot of people to understand so much more about mental health. And I'm confident he's watching or watching later. So, Ian, why don't you tell me about what's coming up and share with our listeners, viewers, for October 12th? It's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. So one of the pillars of the Love for Lawrence Foundation is to bring education and events to our community, so we can really start those conversations. And on October 12th at the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg, in their Student Life Center, which is a beautiful brand new facility.
Amazing.
Multi-story. The bottom floor is actually called the Reef. There's a gorgeous coral reef exhibit downstairs. So we will be hosting the inaugural, hopefully, filming of Mountain Film on Tour, and we're calling it the Reeling in Stigma event, and everything will be an aquatic theme. It's essentially a 2-part event where the initial cocktail party / reception will be a cocktail party style event that hosts a number of local and national community partners of the Love for Lawrence Foundation that will be interacting with our guests as the guests are enjoying food and beverage that's been donated by some gracious sponsors. They'll be interacting with these nonprofit partners that are effectively making change in our community in the mental health arena. It's amazing how little funding there is, so every little bit helps. And what we are able to do is we are offering a grant to every community partner that attends. So we've invited 5 community partners, and each of those 5 community partners will receive a grant simply for attending. In addition to that grant, they'll receive a grand prize grant to the one community partner that's voted on by all the attendees as most deserving of the grand prize grant to affect change in the mental health arena in our community. So it should be a really interesting opportunity for those that attend the VIP portion, to interact with some of the service providers and truly get a little deeper into what's going on in our community. And then the second portion is our guests will head upstairs into the grand ballroom, and the grand ballroom will be decked out for dinner and a movie essentially, and we'll be screening a number of short films that have been curated around a mental health theme by the Telluride Mountain Film Festival's Mountain Film on Tour, which is unique in and of itself to bring that content to Tampa, and for the first time ever they're curating content around mental health for us, and it's true, so that should be really special. We do have one of the stars of one of the films will be flying into Tampa from New Orleans to come introduce his film, as well as provide some Q&A. And he is a survivor of various mental health issues, and is an advocate, and is a veteran. So it should be a really special event.
So I was given a little preview before today, and I watched the clip and I watched the guest speaker, and I am so proud that people I know have been able to put this thing together to bring something that is certainly not typical of Tampa, Florida. How awesome to bring something from Telluride here. Saves people the flight, but really so much more than that, that it was so interesting. I mean, the cinematography alone of all the mountains was incredible. And also to hear someone speak briefly on all the different battles that one person can face and still get up and talk and be an inspiration to so many. I think it's going to be such a gift to the people who attend this event to be able to listen and then to leave and share this. Do you want to talk about the places that are up for the grants?
Yes, absolutely. So over the last 15 months as a board, we've connected with a number of nonprofits and community partners. And on that list have been a couple national organizations as well as some hyper-local organizations, even startups. And what we did is we tried to curate a list of an assortment, essentially. So we've got an organization that's national, like the Rogers Center for Behavioral Health, which is one of the top behavioral health institutions in this country. Little do most people know in the Tampa Bay community that Rogers has a satellite campus here in Tampa that's been doing incredible work, really under the radar for a number of years. So Rogers will be there. To Write Love on Her Arms, which is an amazing national organization, will be there. Warrior to Warrior, which is local, will be there. The Crisis Center for Tampa Bay will be there as well, which obviously is local to Tampa and fairly well known in the mental health community here, as well as the Speak Up 5K, which is a startup, a nonprofit organization run by some amazing young people that are going to be attempting to raise money for similar causes to what the Love for Lawrence is working on. And the whole idea is that we together can attack this problem. There isn't one winner and loser in terms of the folks that are going to affect change here. The problem's so massive and the funding and awareness is so minimal that we all need to work together. And we felt like we had a unique opportunity to bring some organizations together in the name of Love for Lawrence and using some great content and education to really kick off what hopefully will be a series of events for the Love for Lawrence Foundation.
And you've had one event before that was sort of your launch party, right? Just getting the word out that this is what your board put together and what you all were going to do.
Absolutely, yeah. We got a lot of questions from people in the community after Lawrence passed, asking, well, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? And we felt it was important to invite some of his closest friends and family friends to a launch party to announce that the Love for Lawrence Foundation had been founded and that it was here to stay. And these were our objectives. And as a result of that May event, we've now kind of used that momentum and gone into the October event with some incredible sponsorship and participation. I'm happy to say the event is quite profitable already, and very important, it's not a fundraiser. Everything we do is important to be looked at as education and conversation changing. We had no intention in throwing a gala right now or any kind of event where you're going to be asked to write a bunch of checks or feel pressured to purchase something in a silent auction. The only cash we intend for you to spend at our event is to tip the bartenders. We really want you to come in with open eyes and ears and just embrace the conversation and take from it what you will. But it's definitely not, and it's not a typical fundraising event for sure.
I'm so excited about it, and I think it's really great for our community to be able to have a sort of clearinghouse, a place where they can go and where they can ask. And I particularly think it's so nice that you guys, who I basically corralled as ushers for a memorial service that I don't know how we got through, but you've turned that into something so awesome. So that being said, what about the website where people could purchase tickets? I know the VIP tickets are sold out, which is so impressive and amazing.
Absolutely. So through the Love for Lawrence website, you can absolutely click through and purchase tickets. The tickets are only $25 for the Mountain Film screening, which will be a couple hours of incredible content, including the star of one of the films coming to do Q&A and introduce the film and talk about his struggle with PTSD and depression. But it's intended to truly be a good time. I mean, this is think dinner and a movie. So we don't want to monopolize someone's Saturday night with a bunch of depressing conversation. This is beautiful content. These films are, world-renowned films, a lot of them, and they all happen to have this soft thread of mental health issues throughout them. But please purchase tickets on the website for $25, and that will include beer and wine, and there will be some light snacks there for purchase. It should be a great time.
Great. Thank you so much. And that you can find that loveforlawrence.com. And as we wrap up, I feel like Lawrence is probably watching from heaven, where I'm assured he is, and getting a big kick out of the fact that we would both do this together. I think we've had lots of those moments blessed by Lawrence where things have happened that we're sure we're doing the right thing for him. But since it is Taco Tuesday, I feel like Ian should have this opportunity to share with us about what he does daily at Fuzzy's.
So yes, my day job is certainly, I'm a taco salesman by trade. I own the chain of Fuzzy's taco shops locally, and Lawrence was very proud. Lawrence, before his passing, was a minority investor in my company and was convinced he was going to retire due to a taco fortune. But unfortunately, that day never came. We still have a blast selling tacos. My brother and I are partners, and if you ever get a chance to stop into a Fuzzy's, it's always a good time in there.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on today and for carrying on with this mission that is really definitely making a huge change. I don't know what's up for next week. It's a surprise right now, but no doubt we'll get something out on Facebook. And we ask everyone who's watching today to share this and to share the website, loveforlawrence.com, and see who all can be there on October 12th. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.